Good morning, and we are live, and I can't believe it's Friday. It just felt like Monday yesterday. So good morning, everyone. It's Catherine Cook, founder of The Engine, leading business advisor, and we are live this morning for part two, talking about is the recession the perfect storm bearing growth opportunity for business owners. Rejoining me for this discussion is Kirit director partner from Wayland, and as John Mabry would say, superstar on the video. So we'll see what John says about the rest of us today. Andrew Skinner, director with Urlich, Milne, and we're joined with Christine Rankin, business advisor and leadership transformation specialist with The Engine, all the way from Taupo. Good morning, all.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Catherine.
Morning,
Hi, guys.
Nice
Morning,
view
Andrew.
there, Andrew. It still looks like the same weather pattern as the other day.
It's probably similar, yeah.
Lucky you, the
summer,
sun is shining.
Oh, we've got the sun too. Andrew's just a bit kind of like special because he has the same background every time. So
Right.
Now, look, on our previous session, we talked about many opportunity businesses could take advantage of with this recession. I just thought we'd start with a real quick recap from Kirit and Andrew on the top three opportunities from each of you on this topic. So we'll start with you first, Andrew. What's the three opportunities for you on this topic?
Yeah, well, so we last time when we talked last week, we talked about opportunities. Well, I have been having this year with a lot of clients around franchising. So thinking about if you're in business, how you can grow without it necessarily being particularly capital intensive for you. And of course, franchising is a really good way to do that. So I've put in place 3 new systems for food retailers this year. And kind of aligned with that is some really good opportunities in the commercial property space right now, I think. From their experiences, there's lots available out there, and there's some good deals to be had. So that's another good opportunity for businesses. And then, of course, another sort of business model that you could look at is maybe doing a joint venture with another business to kind of share a bit of some cost and kind of grow together, as opposed to doing it all on your own in these sorts of times.
Yeah, that's really looking at each other's strengths and complementing and working collaboratively to kind of like get an even bigger outcome rather than kind of like coming together sort of 2/3 down the track. So I really like that idea. I'm talking a lot about collaboration. What about you, Kirit? What are the 3 top opportunities that you're seeing?
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. As we spoke last time, it's all about cash flow management during these recessionary times. And then if you have had the opportunity to build some cash reserves as you've gone along, this is the ideal time to actually look at a few bargains and a few complementing businesses that you can join up forces with. As what Andrew said, there are a few bargains out there, either it's in the property space or in the business space, or trying to actually grow bigger and better than what you are now. So it's not all about just looking at the negatives, look at the positives. At the same time, another opportunity is have a look at your debt. Are your debts actually income generating? Is there any possibility of restructuring your debt so that you have got lesser commitments going out, managing that cash outflow so that you could actually come out better at the other end? So minimizing expenses, minimizing outgoings, and maximizing earnings. That's the way to go in this recessionary times.
Yeah, look, money's been quite freely available for quite some time, and this is a real reality check now. So no more sort of government COVID packages to kind of bail people out. So, Christine, you were not here for part 1, and I wanted you on here today. You're renowned for strong leadership and transformation. What are the opportunities for business owners in this recession regarding leadership from your point of view?
When I listen to my colleagues talk to Andrew and Kirit, I think of the other side of it. These guys are experts in the technical part, but there's another part. You can have all of those things in place. And yes, there are bargains to pick up at the moment. If something's doing okay now, it's going to do really, really well when we come out of the recession. But unless you lead your people, unless you nurture them and inspire them and motivate them and love them and look after them, it's not going to be successful. They're your greatest resource. So you can have all the technical things in place. If you're not doing your job as the leader, and sometimes because leadership's not valued in New Zealand, people need help in how to do it, because
Yeah.
it's actually quite straightforward and easy. Well, I think it is. And it's very exciting when you bring your people together and you've got them focused on looking after that client and providing the best possible service. That's the other side of what my colleagues do, and it's a vital and important side.
Look, I absolutely agree with you. Sorry, I've got that little bug in my throat again. We brought all our team together this week, and we did the emotional culture workshop. And it's just amazing what comes out of it, the conversation, because everybody gets a pack of cards, and it's a program that I'm certified to run. And what I love about it is because everyone gets a pack of cards, everyone gets to participate. Normally you get someone with a pack of cards and they go, oh, you do it. And you actually have to be involved. And it was actually really interesting. It talks about, how do I want to feel at work? How am I feeling at work? What kind of behaviours do my emotions make me feel outside of work? But it's really getting that whole emotional connection. And I talk about it quite often with all the companies. If you can't connect with your people and connect with your customers and connect with your community, you actually really don't have a business, because without people.
I always say it's a head and heart connection. Yes, your head has got to work out all the technical stuff, as I said before, but you've got to connect your people's hearts with the organisation as well. And once again, as New Zealanders, we shy away from the emotional stuff. Well, that's silly, because we live on our emotions, and that's the reality. They're always tucked in there. And the more you can feed the positive stuff, and it doesn't matter what you're facing, you can overcome it if you work that team. It's just knowing how. And you know that you and I love to help people learn how to lead that team. It is a piece of cake once you know how, and once you have someone beside you that can guide you in that process.
Yeah, look, we were talking about it the other day in our session, and I said, when I came towards the end of the Rugby World Cup, and I had this really good idea that I wanted implemented in 3 months, which was quite lofty. I got everyone in the room together, and the energy in the room was so amazing that just to implement what we did in 3 months, most people would take a year to do what we did in 3 months. And everybody was just so on board. There was nobody going, I need to go home. They were there, they were right on the journey. So look, we covered off so much in the last session, we talked about businesses need to be proactive, they need to engage in collaboration, strategic partnership, acquisitions, and all that kind of thing, which is the stuff that you've recapped on this morning, Kirit and Andrew. So I'd like to kind of talk about some examples of businesses that that have thrived in this recession so far. Like, you don't need to name them, but just even an industry type, what are they doing? Andrew?
You want to go first, Andrew?
Oh, correct. No fight.
Okay.
Andrew? Oh, correct.
Okay, I'll go first. So the ones that I've actually seen do well are the guys who've been collaborating with their suppliers, and also with other sort of competitors, where they actually see that they've got different skill sets within their playing field, and complementing the skill sets. So, for example, a digital agency guy who doesn't do websites, they've actually collaborated and say, let's do a deal together with getting a final package out. So a branding marketing company with a digital agency, with a website guy, together with a social media team. Yeah, they all 4 of them get together, and they are working on one single project for one single customer, but they're doing it under one umbrella. So this is like the customers finding a one-stop shop solution. There's a head of the project, there's a lead in, and they actually are working all collaboratively to get to the end answer. So that is not actually stepping on anyone's toes, but it's all about complementing each other. And then they couldn't get the project by themselves individually, but they got it as a team. So nothing wrong with that. That's been a good success story. The other success story is like what Christine said, is that putting in leadership into the environment, trying to extract the owner out of the business, making him not actually be the forefront. So when they actually go out to sell, the potential purchaser actually says that this is an independent business. All the people have got the buy-in, the staff are the key guys in there. It's not the business owner. And just as of today, we're making up a sale for a company which we thought was going to get, just around about 700K for their business. They got 1.1 million. Because they had that process set up in place with the leadership, etc., being extracted out. And that's the value proposition for the business owner at that point in time. So yeah, success stories like that actually does fill up your day. And that business got sold within 8 weeks. It's probably been one of the fastest that I've actually seen in these sort of times.
Yeah, is that including due diligence as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Including due
wow.
diligence, finance, and the whole works.
So let me kind of, you must have been the accountant, right?
I was the accountant for
There you
the
go.
selling side. Yeah, I was the
There
accountant
you
for the selling
go. There
side.
you go. So we've got a great accountant who's
The books are looking good.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So that's the key, really, is if you are looking at building, your business, start really surround yourself with key people, because that's the difference between, whether you can build a really solid value proposition, or you take a more longer approach to actually build that value proposition. So, Christine, have you got a success story that you might have around maybe something that a business that you worked with in this recession and what they're doing?
Look, I look at my own area in Taupo, and businesses that are serving the public with food, like cafes and restaurants and things, are struggling hugely. And it doesn't matter what they do and what they offer. Life is really tough. But there is another business, for example, both a gym and a Pilates studio that I've looked at recently, and they're actually doing incredibly well. And through the recession, I think people need an escape. And sometimes if you're offering a service that gives someone an escape, although there was a company that I was involved with some time ago in Dunedin that does EFTPOS, and that company thrives no matter what's happening. I guess everybody wants and needs EFTPOS, and they are utterly focused on customer service. They have a big band of people throughout the country who make sure that when anything's wrong, they're there, and the service is really fast. And they have I keep in touch with that chief executive, and they are just doing so incredibly well. It is possible. There are some areas at the moment, especially in smaller areas like mine, where it's a struggle if you're in a service industry like food and that kind of stuff. It's hard going. Nothing's.
Yeah, we kind of go back to the staples, don't we? I mean, it's just kind of been entrenched in us to do that. So, but look, coming back to the Pilates studio, if you actually tap into the solution of what people are needing and build that emotional connection and give the good experience, like you said, it's an escape that I want to go to. Do I want to go to a gym where I'm going to feel like I'm judged or, not supported? So that's really important. Andrew, have you got a success story just before we move on to the next subject?
Yeah, sure. Look, there's, I've got a broad range of clients, so there's lots going on in some industries, and so it is quite area specific and industry specific. So whereas Christine says that food retail and Taupo may be difficult, there are still probably patches of businesses finding it difficult in Auckland, but if you can get your staffing right, I think there's still really good opportunities in that space. I've got a few clients with farming interests, and some sectors of farming are doing pretty well. One product in particular that's pretty short in supermarkets that seems to be going pretty well at the moment, and so they're doing quite well. And yeah, I've also got clients involved sort of on the associated services to do with engineering and infrastructure works, and of course there's a lot still going on in that space as well. So yeah, it's really sector specific and where you are.
Yeah, look, I mean, you guys are talking about, growth and all that in the recession. I mean, some things that I'm actually working on with businesses is, as you know, I'm rolling out business continuity planning around Auckland with the EMA. And just this week, we've got a construction client where, one of the main leadership team is going to be away. And we're actually using it as an opportunity to test how we operate during that week. So, obviously putting in place a good solid plan and everybody understands what's required of them. and having obviously a structure to support those people to do what they need to do, but really testing how do we operate without that person in the business, because that's actually also a really good opportunity for success, because it gives people the opportunity to find their feet and develop their strengths and just continue through the pathway. So of development. Look, Christine, I am sure you know who Tony Robbins is. I mean, we all probably know who Tony Robbins is. Larger than life. He talks about not the lack of resources that stop you, but the lack of resourcefulness. Not everyone starts life with money, connections, or privilege. They need to come up with a need and fill it. I remember reading 10 years ago, Tony said the two biggest things to remember is to prioritize whatever resource you're low on and to be creative about how you get more. His comment had a side note that robbing banks was not creative, it's criminal, which means you've got to stay within a certain limit. So how is his comment relevant in terms of leadership transformation within a recession, in terms of it's not the lack of resources that stop you, but the lack of resourcefulness, Christine?
Well, to me, the greatest lack of resource at the moment is staff. They're really hard to get. It's hard to get quality staff. And, this is a situation that will face the world for the next 40 years. So we're all going to be competing with each other to get people. And therefore, you need to use your resourcefulness to attract the right people and then to keep them. It's what I talked about before. I really believe that a lot of employers underestimate the power of the people that work with them and for them. So there is a great lack of resource at the moment in terms of people. In some ways, it's great for the job seeker because they have far more choices than they've ever had before. But to get people and keep them is a big challenge, and you've got to be very resourceful around that. So it's putting everything into it to make those people feel valued and excited about coming to work every day. I think often that owners work in the business and not on the business, and working on the business means doing all those things that sometimes seem fluffy. They're not fluffy at all, they're core.
Absolutely. If you don't put those strategic foundational pillars in place and then operate at that level, then it's an interesting time. Kirit and I were talking last night, actually, as we always do, about the whole landscape of staffing and resourcing, and it is still tough out there. It is freeing up in some areas through migration, and dare I say it, chat AI. Obviously that's going to have a huge impact and is having a huge impact. I know of various people who are being affected who maybe write for businesses right now, and they're being told actually we don't need your services anymore. We can actually do that ourselves. So, but even with that kind of sort of AI situation, it doesn't have the emotional connection. You still got to build that into the conversation. And how do you do that? And not everybody knows how to do that, which is why they need the people that they were using. So there's going to be a big shift back round in trying to get those people to come back and refine your AI work, so to speak. And if it's not written in the language, it's got to be rewritten, in the right way to connect. So, Andrew, look, just and thank you, Christine, for that. Andrew, we talked in the first part of this topic around mergers and acquisitions that are complementary to add strengths to other strengths. Being a commercial lawyer, you would be across many purchases in this type of transaction. What are the obvious tips to be on the lookout when merging businesses?
Yeah, so look, from my perspective, the key is to just really drill down to the due diligence and do that properly. You've really got to understand what you're buying or what you're merging with. There's often talk about perceived synergies from doing this and what the benefits are going to be, but they really need to be tested and checked before you proceed. As Christine says, staffing is a big one. For a lot of our transactions now, we see staffing as being quite a key condition as part of the deal, that the purchaser wants to be sure that the staff will stay and commit before they're ready to proceed. And we hadn't seen that for some time, but now it's really a big part of these transactions. But aside from that sort of more technical stuff, I think you've got to have a look at some of what Christine was saying around culture and values, and making sure that it's a healthy workplace you're either merging with or acquiring.
Absolutely. And it's a bit like starting up a company too, is, you know, who are you actually going in business with, not just them, but the extended version. Like, let's say we're all in business together now. What happens if something happens to one of us? You know, who's going to be at the table? How does that work for you? And is it kind of like going to cause that ripple effect of maybe my estate doesn't want to be involved here, and is the right paperwork, shareholders agreements in place? So that's a whole like topic on its own. So Kirit, what about you? What are some top tips from you when business is emerging?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I just had one that got bought over, and another one which actually did some merging. And the one that actually merged, the biggest thing in that was the actual culture of the two businesses. So it wasn't about the numbers, it wasn't about processes, systems, and all that. It was the culture within the organization, quite a major part, because for them, it was important that the staff and the people getting together in business, they had the same objectives in mind. So doing your vision, mission statements, making sure that, you know, everything's in line with each other, and also ensuring that the staff are going to get along well. There's no stepping on each other's toes. There's the same mentality, the same objectives, and the same expectations. That was actually quite fundamental in the merger. Numbers and all that will happen. Yeah, and if you know how to run your business, it will happen naturally. But as what Christine said, people are the key, and you would want to make sure that you know, it's not only just internally but externally. Every single part of that merger is looked at, as far as people is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, in my experience with mergers and acquisitions, it is always about the people, and it's you've got to have a considered approach in how you go about announcing, you know, that whole merger, because, you know, it's a change for people, and some people might think that they've been betrayed. You know, they're on the in, and in a situation like that, they may not be on the in, and now they're thinking that, oh, why have I not been on the in these conversations? So I always say to people, don't go rushing in and doing big announcements without a considered thought process of what you're going to say, how you're going to deliver it, and have you run it past other people like ourselves, for example, who can at least do a bit of a, you know, an overview on it and provide a thought process, because that's the real issue. Where I'm saying is people are still having a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. As human beings, we get excited about, oh, we've got to tell the world what's happening, and then we kind of go into the rabbit hole where we don't want to tell the world about anything. So it really is a huge PR situation, and how you manage that, you know, for internal clients, external clients. Well, keeping on topic around the growth opportunities in recession, obviously when COVID hit, we saw fashion people, you know, change their business to, you know, wearing face masks and getting sanitizers, and suddenly there was just a huge supply of that. All remember those times. You had to survive. You had to adapt. In the last few months, I've been working with my clients around diversification for their sales strategies and plan. You know, for example, a company that only sells a product in one, you know, industry should consider diversifying its customer base to include other industries. So don't go and recreate the wheel again. Go, what have I got here that I could go and sell over here to this group of people, and just really looking at that. So, you know, a business that operates locally may expand its reach by selling online or opening a new location in a different region. Christine, what other ideas have you got around business diversification?
I think you've got to always have your mind open to opportunities, and I think there's a lot of things to stimulate our minds if we go looking for them, you know, to just be aware of what other people are doing and the kind of success they have. And I think you've got to have you've got to be seeking, and you've got to have some courage to want to do it. And sometimes the solutions are so simple, we're just not seeing the wood for the trees. So it's about taking a step back. And I do think, Catherine, that having a coach, having someone you can talk to, you might not even think of them as a coach, but someone who's got fresh ideas and can challenge you, is one of the greatest investments you can have in your business. I get so much satisfaction out of the people I work with because I'm a fresh set of eyes. I can see things in a different way, and that is so exciting, especially when you help someone succeed. And that's what we do.
Absolutely. Like I always say, when you're in the four walls of this office, you only know what's inside. So just getting someone to come in with a different thought process. It's a bit like, I mean, that's why the importance with having governance. You get that whole strategic thinking at the top and different ideas. So look, my favourite saying always is businesses don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So more than ever, people need to invest. That's the opportunity. Invest in your people. Christine just talked about it. Invest in getting expert help, especially a coach, the right accountant and lawyer is really key and critical. Invest in your sales and marketing collaboration and building strategic partnership. What are your thoughts from each of you on business investing in this, in this business environment to create opportunity? What should they be investing in? So just quickly from you, Andrew, what would you?
Yeah, so look, for me now is not the time to be hiding. Okay, that's what my sort of quick tip is. I think you need to be out there and networking and meeting people, and using a group like the Engine is fantastic for that, because we have all of this resource here and we can provide the right for the right person to give you the advice you need. So I just think it's a really important time to be not sort of worried too much and hiding. Is get out there and really see people and see a group like us.
Absolutely, we've got all the talent in here. Kirit, what do you reckon about that?
I'll echo what Andrew's saying. I think it's important to get the right people around you, and no better people than people in the Engine, but also at the same time making sure that you are actually talking a lot about your business to yourself and also to your fellow colleagues, whether it's your staff members, etc., as to what you want to achieve and what you want to go down the road of, because that's actually quite important. So remaining silo, not taking any actions wouldn't get you anywhere. This is the time to take action. So if you're worried about your cash flow, for example, have a talk to your accountant. Right, have a talk to you, even if it's your personal cash flow and it's not your business cash flow, have a talk to a local business advisor, a budget specialist, to say, these are my problems, where can I actually look at saving some money to move ahead? So definitely go out there and seek help. Don't stay in isolation, because you're not alone in the journey.
No, and the fear and the worry doesn't go away. So you got to deal with it, otherwise it becomes greater. Christine, have you got a quick thought process on that?
Look, one of the things I love about the Engine is the quality of people that you've gathered. I mean, two of them are on here with me today, and they are very impressive in terms of what they do. And there is a group way beyond that is just as impressive. I love that about the Engine, that you've got so much support that's quality. But the thing I would say is concentrate on your culture, because I bet you're concentrating on everything else. And we all know that culture beats strategy for breakfast, as the old saying goes. Concentrate on your culture, get the most out of your people and give them everything you can. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about attention.
Yeah, that's the thing, is if it's not about the money. If people feel valued and are supported and encouraged,
yep,
they're gonna stay. So look, we've seen many strategies that businesses can use to weather the economic downturn, but you can also start a recession-proof business idea. Would you start a business right now in this recession, Andrew? And what advice are you giving to buyers to protect themselves? Would
I start a business right now?
That was a curly question for you.
Well, I guess if it's in the right sector and there's a good opportunity, then yes, absolutely. Having said that, I would say that I was speaking to a good business broker earlier this week who said there's some really good deals out there in terms of picking up businesses and buying them. So you need to weigh up that. Do I spend a bit more and buy something that's already there and grow it, or am I starting from scratch? If you're starting from scratch, then obviously the first things you're going to be doing is incorporating a company to get the benefit of that limited liability. You're going to be looking at trying to keep your costs right down and be agile. If you're looking for space, you might want to join one of those generator spaces where you're sharing and you're on a month to month just until things pick up. And before you get started, you might want to think about protecting your personal assets, because it's likely if you start a new business and you enter into contracts with other suppliers and things, you'll need to sign personal guarantees. So you might want to think about protecting your personal assets in a trust before you get underway. So those are my quick 3 top tips.
Great ideas. Correct. Do people need to be selective of what that business industry is that they buy in?
I think it's more important than the business industry, than it's actually the business itself. So you wouldn't go out and just buy a business who's been in business for 12 months and then take on what they've achieved in the 12 months and think that that's the future, because everybody's actually had a bit of a uplift with all the benefit claims to the government, etc., over the last couple of years. And if you've been in business for over 12 months, you were entitled to claim for those. And then there are sort of abnormalities that have happened over the last 3 years. So you wouldn't just go in and buy something which only got started off yesterday. You would want to make sure that the business has done consistently well. And over the years, it's not about the ups and downs within the COVID years, for example. It's all about the consistency and the customers that they've had. And, and if they have survived, and if their customers have survived, then they will survive. So, it's all about being very selective.
Yeah, it is absolutely crucial. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about cultivation strategies for protecting businesses. It's one of the favourite things that I do in business. It's about investing, and you touched on it before, Andrew, and also Christine, about investing in deepening and building the client or strategic relationships. Like I say to people, don't send an email, pick up the phone, go and see people better. So Christine, as a leader, how do you motivate your team to invest in deepening those relationships when they may well be worried about their own job or personal financial security?
As the leader, you set the scene. The speed of the boss is the speed of the crew, so they say. You've got to set the scene and what you want them to do and how you want them to act. But it's a whole process. It's about celebrating success and putting people up each day. That's what I talk about with the inspiration and the motivation. And look, it's not always easy. Sometimes you're feeling down, and you're worried about things. But I think it's really, really important to set the scene and be very, very clear about what you expect from them, and then make that a really exciting success process.
Yeah, look, I absolutely agree. So on part one of this topic, I addressed the elephant in the room, that businesses don't address the need for help until it's too late. And we've kind of been talking about that quite a bit here. There's so much benefit to be had in having solid governance and specialists like this at the table. And, Kirit, the other day we had our client Steel Pack Construction Group on, and I loved how they keep referencing that, the services that we provide is an investment, not a cost. And, it's really important that people understand that it is a journey, and you will see the value that comes out of it, because it's not going to happen on month 1 or month 2, but it's definitely going to happen on month 3, if not a little bit before. So as a business advisor, we work holistically across the businesses, and I've always positioned that what we do as being the opportunist, the expert, that's who we are, we're the opportunist, the expert. We help clients make the most of the opportunity that comes with an economic downturn. The first opportunity is to help your clients capitalise and grow during recession. What do each of you see as the opportunities for your existing clients or past clients and potential clients? Christine, start with you.
I think it's just concentrating on the product and the people delivering it. Whatever your product is, it's making sure at the moment that it's quality, that people are getting great service, and that you're looking after your people, as I keep on saying.
Christine's a people person. Kirit, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, me being the financial guy, I lean more towards the cash flow and wanting to make sure that you do actually protect your cash flow, making sure that you have planned in advance, do your budgets, do your cash flow, 3-way cash flow models, make sure that you'll be okay for the next 12 months. You set yourself collection targets as far as revenue is concerned, and then got to make sure that you're up to date with your outgoings. So trying to minimize your outgoings as much as you can.
Absolutely, and front foot the IRD as well, Andrew.
Yes.
Look, linked to what Kirit's saying, I think there's good opportunities at the moment to really look at your costs, look at your footprint, and maybe try and reduce some of that. Look at other business models, who can you collaborate with, and sort of try and use this time to position yourself for when things sort of get moving again.
Yeah, look, and my tip really is that diversification, get creative. Start thinking about, what are the opportunities, where's the silver lining? And there is a silver lining, and I'm not going to say what my silver lining was, but I got my creative hat on last night, and Christine responded with, wow, these are great ideas. And, Let's
Yeah.
go, girl, you know. So watch this space. We'll be revealing that soon. So just to kind of wrap this up, because I'm very aware that everyone's got to be somewhere. Obviously, during this challenging economic time, many business owners are fearful. There's no doubt about that. They've not been managing their profit margins and balance sheets, or perhaps have expanded too quickly, and many don't have great management. Just a top tip from each of you on what you do about this fear. So I'm gonna start first. The Chamber has a first step program. You can get 3 counselling sessions through that as a business owner. Go and talk to somebody. There's no shame in talking to someone about where you're at. Even if it's not the Chamber and it's one of us, I tell you what, I've got so many people that come to me with so much information about where they're at. They don't get judged, they get heard, they get helped. Correct. What's one thing from you? How do you
Very much so. I think talk to somebody that you are close to, and that person may or may not have the right resources with them, but it's all about reaching out and then finding the right resource. Even for us at work, we've actually got Acacia, who's over there as our EAP help thing. So it doesn't matter whether it's personal life or it's business or anything. We can just confidentially talk about our problems, and we'll get aligned to the right resource to make sure that we can navigate through this journey, because we're not alone. Everybody's in the same path. Everybody's on the same journey. So get help where you can.
Yeah, what I like about you too, Kirit, is, you know, especially if people are a little bit scared about talking to the IAD, you can have those conversations on their behalf. Doesn't sort of take people away from the problem. The problem is still there and it's still theirs to own, but you're there, and that's what we do here in the engine. We swim alongside people. So I love the fact that you share the same value system that we have. Andrew, a tip from you about overcoming fear?
Oh, look, I just agree. It's got to be just reaching out to people, reaching out to your networks. Don't hide and try and take this on yourself. You know, I've got long-standing relationship with clients, and you know, they can always pick up the phone and talk through things, and that really helps in terms of trying to address issues. Yeah,
exactly. These people that go on about hourly rates, you once you actually have a conversation with someone that is actually going to help you, that cost is negligible. So, Christine?
Oh, look, I agree. I would say invest in a business coach, whoever it is that works for you, because as a coach, I know that you get to know everything about your client. They do share. It starts with business, but you get to know their whole lives, and you know when they need help outside you, when there is someone else that they need to go to. But it is a fantastic relationship that we build with our clients. You do look after them, and it's not all about charging it out every 5 minutes either. We're very generous in terms of what we do, but investing in a coach is a really, really strong step to take.
Oh, absolutely. I just had a client of mine retire after 6 years that I've been working with them, and people say, my God, it took you 6 years to get things right for him. And I'm like, no, we just have a wonderful relationship.
Yeah.
That he trusted me to be there for 6 years. And that's where a lot of our clients are at, you know, they're long-term clients. I know you guys, we went a bit longer on this session, but I think we've covered off a huge amount of stuff. I hope the session has proven to be valuable to the people that are watching this as a business owner. Does your business feel like you're on a merry-go-round? I always say to people, no change equals no change. And as subject matters experts with a proven track record, take a leap of faith, come and invest with us in here in the engine, take your business on a journey with us, work with us. You may even be eligible for co-funded support. Thank you, Kirit, Andrew and Christine. I hope you guys have got a nice, relaxing weekend ahead of you, long weekend. I've got a next session planned around achieving successful transformation in an era of disruption. Look forward to bringing that to everybody next week. So have a great weekend, keep safe, and I think it's going to be 5 o'clock soon, is it?
Good luck with that.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, Andrew.
Bye.
Thanks, Christine. Bye-bye.